Hey everyone. Well, today we're going to work on the second of those two Craftsman 1950s wall mount toolboxes. And this is the one that's a little bit more interesting because it's older, I think, than the other one. This is a 1954, and I believe these were for carpenters or to go in a carpentry shop. So it's got the interesting wood backing. And what I found is because of that, a lot of these clips and things can be removed and swapped around, so there's quite a few variants of these, and it'll be interesting to kind of figure out what tools went where in these. I'm going to disassemble it, but I'll be putting it back pretty much in the exact same way that I took it apart. So a couple other steps we've got to do. We've got to take these things off. There's a lot of rust on these, and we're gonna have to clean up that logo somehow, which has overspray on it, and that's tricky because you don't want to use really anything abrasive that might take the logo paint off. You just want to take the overspray off. And then it's a basic sand and paint. So let's start by getting all these pieces out. So I've taken a picture of where all this stuff is laid out so that I can be sure to put it back in the same arrangement. And maybe someday I'll be able to figure out what all these things were holding. Possibly for a power drill. That's what I would say. The rest of this I'm really not quite sure. But let's get all these pieces out. The back has been riveted in place. And the logo is riveted on. Those are the only things I can really think of that make me think that this came this way, because these pieces are not riveted on. Looks like it's all the same type of screw, so I don't need to really worry about that. Okay, next let's take the lock out. And as I recall that, well, I don't think I may not even need a wrench. It seems already loose. It's already loose. All right, let's see what we can do. I gotta use something really carefully to see if this paint, I can get this paint off. If not, oh well. So I'll try on the edge first where there's no factory paint and see. Okay, before I jump to acetone, I'm just gonna try mineral spirits. Seeing if that'll do anything. That's probably as good as I'm gonna get this thing. So let's mask it off. Is these screwed on? No, these are riveted on, so these will get painted with everything else. Yeah, I'll mask the logo off and then we'll do a light sanding and paint it. An interesting turn of events is the logo actually came off really easy. It wasn't riveted on, it just had nails. should have done this step before I hit it with any primer. Alright, before I start painting, I'm going to take these parts, some of which are actually quite rusty. I'm going to put them in navel jelly. These were chromed at one point. It's okay. All these parts are fine. I wonder if those little clips were actually added later. That's it for that. So I'll let that sit while I get to work on painting this. Alright, these parts, I don't have any issue with wiping them down with acetone. Get the oil off and clean them. Alright, let's get the real box. The big box, anyway. Now I'm using Rust-Oleum Hammered Gray. I'd say identified because it says Hammered Gray on it, but it does not. You have to go by the cap, which is why I usually write on the can what color it is. Always shake it at least 100 shakes. Today may be the rare day when I'm painting and it actually doesn't rain. A lot of surface to cover here. A lot. Got a good can this time. The other box I didn't have a can that sprayed this good. I feel like I should be using this can on the outside of the box. I'm not too concerned with getting the hammered finish on the wood. Not going to show up anyway. But to avoid streak marks, I'm going left, right, and I'm going up, down. I got a breeze here. All right, I'll continue. I'll be back. Okay, we've got the inside of the box done. So I had a thought on these components here, these little rack pieces. And I thought rather than painting them gray, which is probably what they would have been, I'm going to actually paint them red. So I get the gray and red 1950s kind of Craftsman look. So I'm using Rust-Oleum high performance enamel, which is not exactly the toolbox red. It's close enough, but it actually wears well and covers really well. And it comes in a big can for the same price as a small can. So you got that going for you too. These will unfortunately take longer because I'm going to have to paint different sides of them. But this dries pretty quick. It's not like hammered paint, which takes 3 days to fully cure. This stuff will, I'll be able to move these in a half an hour easy. I think that'll add a little bit of snap, I guess, would be a good word to look at the box inside. And it'll also distract from the overspray on the Craftsman logo itself, because you'll have other red and other colors inside the box to look at. Just a spot there. I'm putting on way more than is required for something like this, but because I plan on using these, and if tools are going to be sliding in and out, I want a heavy coat. It's sitting in a bit of a puddle. I don't want to peel it off. Get these guys out. All right. So the box has really only sat for about 15 minutes, which is not really that long. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to partially close these doors. If possible. And paint the outside of the doors. Hopefully we don't get any more gusts of wind. Oddly enough, we got one pretty strong gust. And it stirred up a lot of dust, unfortunately. So go slow. I know I have a tendency to go faster, but you don't want that to happen. Once I've got a coat on it, I don't mind if I tilt it back down. This is just to get rid of the strokes depth to the hammered look. Will not be a complete coat under here, but it's a good starter. Alright, not much left. I'm going to need to grab another can for the other door. It's fairly dry out today, so the paint's drying pretty quick. That's 2 full cans. Looks like the whole box will be 3 cans. These pieces are looking good. I gotta take care of the stuff that I've got in the navel jelly and paint those red, and then it's take a break for a while, let everything kind of sit. So here's my clips in the navel jelly. You'll see they're all black, which is good. Black oxide instead of red oxide rust. So I'm going to rinse them off, and then we'll dry them, acetone them, and paint them. All the little screws that we're holding on the brackets. All I'm going to do with these is just take some steel wool. It's a good idea to wear gloves when you do this, because you don't want to get steel wool stuck in your fingers. But these aren't rusted, they're just kind of dull looking. So see, a couple seconds of some fine steel wool, put some shine right back. Alright, I'm going to do the rest of these screws. We got about 20 more to go, but it goes quick. Alright, you don't need to see any more of this. Pause it and continue. Alright, well, it's not fully dry, but it's dry to the point where I can start putting stuff like that hasn't been painted red on it. And so I'm going to look at the logo, which unfortunately I can't get all that paint off. But rather than replace those 2 tiny nails, I actually found 2 very small screws to put it in, which I think will not only hold better, but probably look better. Though they are Phillips, I did not have these in flathead like all the other old screws on this. That's okay. And so with that, I think we gotta just hold off for a while and let it dry more. Alright, I'm placing the painted components about where they go. I fortunately took a picture so I can tell where they're supposed to be. They're still sticky, so I would say it's probably not the ideal time for me to be doing this, but that guy on last because it likes to fall over. So let's put some of these in. I'm gonna have to wipe off the steel wool. These screws are now magnetized, so alright, I do not regret my decision to paint those red. They look significantly better in red. Alright. Next up, might as well put the lock on. Same 7/8 size as the other one. Looking good. Alright, I'm gonna give it some more time to dry. Alright, so I let it dry overnight. I did give the back part of the wood a light coat just to bring it in line with the rest of it and cover up some of the white overspray. But there it is. I think the red tool mounts really add a lot to the look of this. And they detract from the overspray on the metal Craftsman emblem. But overall, I'm really happy with it. This thing's gonna look great once I get it mounted. All right, that's it. I think the box came out great. Again, I really like the red tool mounts. I think that adds a lot to the look of the box. And you know, these are good projects. They're not too difficult to do, especially the wood backing. As I found, you can remove the tool mounts to restore those really easy. So if you find one of these, you know, as I always say, don't be intimidated. You can restore this thing. Just go out, get busy. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That really helps. Take care.